Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
The Chen family's tough attitude instantly shocked many wealthy families who wanted to intercede on behalf of the Ito family. Chen Beiyuan really sent people to the front line without hesitation. This is obviously serious. If the Liu family and his son hadn't bowed their heads quickly, Liu Zhe would have been assigned to the military mission of the Death Squad by now. It's okay now, but I have to stay on the front line for a year and a half. It depends on when Chen Beiyuan is in a good mood and he can come back. After taking care of the Liu family, Chen Beiyuan expressed to the public that he wanted to intercede for the Ito family. No problem. The Cannon Fodder Battalion, on the Imperial front line in the second floor of the Inquisition's Black Cell, are very short of people. If anyone has an idea, you can mention it to him. The former can serve the country and protect the country. The latter can exercise and strengthen the body. They are all serving the Empire. No need to be embarrassed. After this series of critical attacks, even a fool knew that the Chen family was serious. Is it really worth it to get involved with the Donghua Chen family for some overseas interests? In an instant, many people fell silent. At the same time, the Bai family, who were related to each other by marriage to the Chen family, also took action. A targeted censorship order was issued. The Donghua Empire suspected that there was internal cooperation, and all industries in the Sakura Kingdom were asked to suspend operations, waiting for the official announcement. Enter the investigation. This move is undoubtedly equivalent to removing the firepower from under the cauldron. How to check? How to do it? Who will check? Who will do it? When will the investigation be completed? When will it end? Naturally, it depends on God's will. This is undoubtedly putting all of Sakura Country's empire's properties on a fire rack. In less than a few hours, the market value of these Sakura people's stocks plummeted. Many people who received the news in advance and took good advantage of the situation immediately made a lot of money, and their mouths were full of oil. This wave is really a dimensionality reduction blow. It is too easy to take advantage of you as an outsider on someone else's territory. Nowadays, even a fool can see that the industries of these Sakura people have now turned into green leeks, which can be harvested without restraint. Advertisement. Profit comes first. Who doesn't want to take a cut and live a good year? Even the wealthy families who had previously interceded for the Ito family joined the harvest army with tacit understanding. In an instant, many companies and industries in Sakura Country went bankrupt one after another, were acquired one by one, and became the property of others. Such unbridled revenge instantly stunned the Ito family, Jingu family, Fukada family, and Fujiki family in Sakura Country. This clearly shows that they are being treated as pigs to be killed. What made them even more scolded was that when they also wanted to confiscate the Donghua people's properties in Sakura Kingdom, they received a warning from the Donghua Empire. If the Sakura Kingdom dares to bully the Donghua people abroad, it will be repaid with blood. At the same time, many families in the Sakura Kingdom also received urgent news, and the Donghua Empire's army seemed to be mobilizing. Threaten. A naked threat? In an instant, the entire Sakura Country fell into silence. The toughness of the Donghua people was obviously beyond their expectations. Is this still the humble and low-key ancient Eastern country 100 years ago? So the question is, does Sakura Country have the qualifications to go head-to-head with Donghua Empire at this time? Baga, it's all the fault of the Ito family. Why should the Fukada family pay for their fault? I don't care. The Ito family must compensate the Fukada family for their losses. Yes, the Fujiki family's losses in the Donghua Empire are no less than 100 billion. More than 20 companies are controlled by Donghua people. The Fujiki family's hard work over the years has become the wedding dress of others. Let His Majesty Jiangu come forward and put pressure on the Ito family. Make sure the Ito family provides some compensation. As the instigator, the Ito family was undoubtedly questioned by all major families, and even the Jingu family, the most royal family, took advantage of the situation and took a hand. In an instant, the Ito family, the overlord of the Sakura Kingdom, seemed to be the target of public criticism. What makes the Ito family feel even more aggrieved is that their overseas industries have also been suppressed and excluded from all aspects. Many overseas arsenals have been attacked inexplicably, resulting in heavy losses. Many arms dealers who cooperated with them also terminated their contracts and turned to the arms of Longting Group. Ha ha ha, those Sakura people have really offended Chen Beiyuan. They actually made the matter so big. This is obviously going to cut a piece of flesh off of them. An island country located in a corner who gave them the courage to go against the Donghua Empire. If they had not taken into account many factors in recent years, they would have been dealt with long ago. The accounts back then were not settled with them yet. Now it's just interest. In just 2 days, the Ito family, who had been beaten a series of times, finally bowed their proud heads. Advertisement. Called Chen Beiyuan, who was chatting with by Yuza in the Imperial Tribunal. Chunjun, the Ito family can agree to the request you made before, including a 7th grade magic weapon and 10 billion in funds, and send it as soon as possible. I only hope that you can release Ito Makoto and come forward to calm things down. Ito Hideo's attitude at this moment is obviously significantly different from the last time. His voice is no longer as unruly and arrogant as before, but it is a little more dry and sincere. Obviously, he has clearly seen the terrorist power of the Donghuachan family. The Ito family has now suffered a lot. If they continue to fight, it will obviously be detrimental to them. But facing Hideo Ito's somewhat condescending voice, Chen Beiyuan seemed particularly calm. Things have reached this stage and are no longer under my control. Those wealthy families cannot all listen to me. When they have made enough, they will naturally stop. If you want to play, you can play. If you don't want to play, you can't play. Who do you think you are? When to stop naturally depends on my mood. Okay, Mr. Chun, can you let Ito Makoto go first? The Ito family will pay the corresponding compensation. The price of a 7th grade magic weapon and 10 billion was 2 days ago. I am very dissatisfied with the attitude of the Ito family. How much do you want? 2 7th grade magic weapons, plus 5% of the shares of Sakura Group. Chen Beiyuan opened his mouth unceremoniously. 7th grade magic weapons are not a piece of cake. Each one has terrifying power. Even the heirs of top families only have a few in their hands. As for Sakura Group, that is the lifeblood of the Ito family. 5% of the shares is undoubtedly cutting their flesh. Chen Beiyuan's knife was definitely fast and cruel. To put it bluntly, the value of these things he wants is probably greater than what Sakura Kingdom lost in the Donghua Empire. He was already ready to bargain with the other party. However, to his surprise, Hideo Ito actually agreed. Okay, I promised on behalf of the Ito family that I will have the things delivered today. Chen Beiyuan's pupils flashed, and he instantly realized something was wrong. Hideo Ito agreed so readily. Although the 3rd son of the Ito family is precious, it is definitely not worth the price. Unless Makoto Ito hides something more valuable, the phone hangs up. Chen Beiyuan's eyes flashed with a strange light. He looked at Bayuza in front of him faintly and asked in a calm tone, "Staobai, what has Ito Makoto recruited these days?" "Brother-in-law, this little Sakura brat has been very honest these past 2 days. He answers whatever I ask. He even told him the color of his mother's underwear. It seems to be purple and transparent. But when it comes to spies, this guy would be beaten to death." "Deny." Bayuza rubbed his hands, with a somewhat lewd expression on his handsome baby face. Obviously, he has learned a lot about the matron of the Ito family from Ito Makoto in the past few days. In the past 2 days, under the influence of the great memory recovery technique, Ito Makoto has been able to answer all questions, and he has done everything. But as for the spy matter, he would not admit it even to death. This is normal. Ito Makoto would admit that he is a spy unless he is crazy. Don't admit that there is still a chance of survival. Admitting it is equivalent to handing over your life to others. At that time, you really can't help yourself. Ito Makoto knew very well that as long as he resisted, the family would do their best to save him. But for Bayuza, is it really important whether Ito Makoto is a spy? As long as the brother-in-law opens his mouth, no matter whether the other party is right or not, he must be yes. Chen Beiyuan waved his hand to stop the gossip in Bayuza's mouth. His eyes suddenly became serious, and he looked at his brother-in-law in front of him, and he slowly said, "Please make arrangements. I want to be alone with Ito Makoto. Don't let anyone know about this except you. I understand, brother-in-law. I will make arrangements right away. Seeing that his brother-in-law became serious, Beiyuan also noticed that something was wrong, and the wretchedness on his face instantly disappeared and he became serious. The Imperial Court of Justice is the private domain of the Bai family, and the president is still his third uncle. As the young master of the Bai family, he naturally has considerable authority. A special transfer order will come out soon. The black and white judges on the first floor of the black cell were temporarily transferred. The corresponding monitoring equipment was also temporarily shut down. Advertisement. Execution chamber. He was tied to a wooden stake, and his limbs were driven into steel nails. The figure covered in blood and flesh was lowering his head and motionless. The originally handsome face had already been beaten to pieces by the whip. In the past few days, Ito Makoto has been treated well more than once. Suddenly, a faint sound of footsteps was heard. With his head lowered and his eyelids swollen, he seemed to react and raised his head subconsciously. "It's you?" There was a horrified expression on Ito Makoto's face, but before he could react, his sight was covered by a pair of evil and majestic dark purple eyes, and strands of evil thoughts poured into his mind instantly. The frightened face gradually turned dull and absent-minded. With an expressionless expression, Chen Beiyuan controlled the strange demonic thoughts to penetrate into Ito Cheng's mind little by little, as if he was looking for something. Ever since he broke through to the 6th grade Battle King, the 8th grade technique of prison-suppressing magic manual has begun to show its edge, showing its terrifying power. Unlike ordinary cultivators, the spiritual thoughts can only be used to detect and attack. As a man who practices magic, his own demonic thoughts are extremely weird, with the ability to distort reality and invade thoughts. It can silently invade the target's body, mark it, and subconsciously influence it for its own use. Soon, his face showed an expression that was indeed the case. The evil thoughts wandering around in Ito Makoto's mind soon touched a spiritual imprint, and he suddenly felt a great threat. As long as his demonic thoughts are even slightly closer, they will touch that spiritual imprint, and in an instant, it will be burned away by endless flames. As expected, Ito Makoto's soul has been planted with some kind of spiritual imprint. As long as he wants to say the corresponding content, his soul will be wiped out. With such a fatal threat, no wonder he dare not say a word even if he is killed. Interesting, the secret is being used as a cover at the cost of life. Is this why the Ito family desperately wants to save him? Chen Beiyuan had an interesting expression on his face. The spiritual imprint hidden deep in Ito Makoto's soul is very powerful. At least it was left by the 8th grade War Emperor. With his current demonic thoughts, it is impossible to bypass its blockade and detect the contents inside. In this case, things become very difficult. Even if the 8th grade War Emperor personally takes action, it may disturb the spiritual imprint, leading to failure and being noticed by the people behind the scenes. If it were anyone else, I would be stumped, but you just happened to meet me. The wordless medical scripture has a special elixir that can deal with this situation. Advertisement. A strange smile appeared on Chen Beiyuan's face. Suddenly, there was a strange pill in his hand. Unlike other elixirs that are refined from plants, trees, metals, and stones, the elixir in his hand is condensed from a certain kind of special aura. The transparent tan bark can vaguely see the gas flowing like liquid inside. Empty spirit pill. This is one of the several special elixirs revealed in the wordless medical scripture after he broke through the 6th grade Battle Queen. This elixir can put the target's soul thinking into an ethereal state and unconsciously bypass some taboos and ask some special questions. This thing is almost equivalent to the magic version of truth serum. It allows the target to tell the answer without going through the brain or touching the mental imprint. Have you ever had this situation where you blurted out something before your brain could react and didn't react until you finished speaking? Chen Beiyuan placed the empty spirit pill in front of Ito Makoto's nose. With Ito Makoto's subconscious breathing, the pill exploded instantly, turning into a burst of gas visible to the naked eye and pouring into his nasal cavity. Soon, the stiffness on Ito Makoto's face gradually relaxed, and his absent-minded eyes became relaxed, as if he had fallen into some special state. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were fixed, and he suddenly asked, "May I have your name?" "Makoto Ito." Ito Makoto replied blankly. "Your identity?" "The third son of the Ito family." After asking a few basic questions and confirming that the target was in the right state, Chen Beiyuan started to ask the real questions. "What is your purpose in coming to Donghua Empire?" "Assist Jinggu Fengyuan to buy students from Donghua Academy, provide help and assistance when needed in the future, and secretly select targets that can be domesticated by the Ito family, and start the invasion plan again." "Start the invasion plan again?" Chen Beiyuan's eyes changed, as if he thought of something. "My grandfather has made contact again with the alien ferocious beasts on the border front of the Donghua Empire. My grandfather has once again made contact with the alien ferocious beasts on the border front of the Donghua Empire. Those brainless guys are very dissatisfied with the Donghua people occupying a large area of their territory. Originally, those brainless guys were planning to fight. I went back, but under the persuasion of my grandfather, I finally agreed to cooperate with our Ito family. Those guys are not making the slightest move to fight back now, just to paralyze the many top powerhouses in the Donghua Empire gathered on the border front and make them relax their vigilance. When the time comes, the Ito family will launch an internal response in the Donghua Empire and cause chaos. To disrupt the situation and force those top experts to return, at that time, those guys will launch an attack, raid the border front, retake the territory, and penetrate all the way to the north of the Donghua Empire. My grandfather has made an agreement with them. As soon as the plan is launched, the Sakura Kingdom will also send troops, cooperate inside and outside, and draw the Donghua Empire into the war. The north belongs to them, and the south belongs to us." Ito Makoto had empty eyes and a relaxed look on his face, as if he had fallen into some kind of dream. He revealed the wolfish ambitions of the Ito family bit by bit like he was dreaming. No one expected that the Sakura people would actually collude with the ferocious alien race to carve up the Donghua Empire. You know, the human race and the alien ferocious beasts can almost be said to be incompatible existences. The grudge between the two sides has lasted for thousands of years, and there have been countless battles to compete for habitat. No matter how much the human race countries like civil war, when it comes to racial issues, it is the biggest thing. You secretly have trade dealings with alien ferocious beasts, which is somewhat involved. As long as it is not exposed, it is a trivial matter and everyone can turn a blind eye. After all, this is what everyone does. But if you want to collude with the ferocious beasts and aliens to murder the top powers of the human race in order to achieve your own selfish interests and cause damage to the human race internally, that is naked betrayal. If this kind of thing is not exposed, forget it. If it were to be exposed, the Human Race Alliance, composed of the world's top powers, would be the first to refuse to agree. Anyone who betrays the human race will be attacked by all countries. This is the bottom line. I'm afraid that even his grandfather Ito Ryu could not have imagined that his carefully laid plan would go wrong with Ito Makoto. Normally, it would be impossible for Makoto Ito, who was imprinted with a spiritual brand, to live to tell these things. It's a pity that no one knows the horror of this peerless medical scripture, the wordless medical classic. Wordless medical scripture can become son of Fortune Lin Zhao's biggest goldfinger, and its gold content is naturally conceivable. Just one empty spirit pill tore apart the conspiracy of the Sakura people, revealing the ugly and disgusting face inside. Advertisement. Chen Beiyuan's eyes became colder and colder, and the killing intent in his eyes could hardly be concealed. He stared straight at Ito Makoto in front of him and continued to ask, "What methods are the Ito family planning to use to create chaos? Assault on a special person. Who is the target?" "I don't know. This is the top secret of the family. Only my grandfather, father, and that be asterisk 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 D. Ito Hideo know." When Ito Makoto mentioned his eldest brother Ito Hideo, a trace of ferocity flashed across his originally soothing face. It was obvious that he was deeply resentful and had a faint tendency to wake up. Chen Beiyuan frowned slightly and changed the topic directly. Besides the Ito family, who else was involved? Fujiki, Rakuya, Fukada, Ueno, Yukino. The ferocity on Ito Makoto's face gradually dissipated and turned into calm, and he answered blankly. Chen Beiyuan's eyes flashed, seeming a little surprised. The Shingu family didn't participate? Grandfather doesn't want the Jingu family to get involved. As long as the plan succeeds, the Ito family will be the new royal family of Sakura country. By then, all the men of the Jingu family will have to die, and the women will have to become slaves. I'm prepared for that. Jingu Yukino. Let her be my slave girl. If the plan fails, I will push the Jingu family out to apologize. However, now that the matter is so big, the Shingu family should have noticed a clue. Ito Makoto murmured to himself like a dream. Chen Beiyuan nodded secretly, but he had a different explanation for this. What Sakura people are best at is apologizing afterward. If the plan failed, the Jingu family, the royal family of the Sakura kingdom, would be just fine. The last question is, 100 years ago, a supergiant secret realm appeared on the border of the Donghua Empire. Two 8th-grade beasts suddenly appeared. Alien riots occurred on the border front. The entire northern front fell. Is the fall of the Chun family ancestor related to Ito Ryu? Chen Beiyuan said expressionlessly. This question had grown like a weed deep in his heart as early as when Ito Makoto said that Ito Rikoshi had once again contacted the ferocious alien race and launched an invasion plan. Advertisement. 100 years ago, in that sudden invasion, the Chen family of Donghua lost an ancestor, and countless Chen family members were killed and injured before the entire corrupted northern border was restored. The invading alien beasts were driven away, and the territory was regained. What happened was too sudden and too coincidental. Two 8th-grade ferocious beasts happened to appear at the weak point of the border front and destroyed the entire border wall. At that time, the Sakura kingdom happened to launch an invasion of the Donghua Empire. If there was no connection, he would never believe it. And Makoto Ito's next answer also verified his guess. Yes, that was my grandfather's first contact with a foreign race of ferocious beasts. My grandfather drew a border defense map of the Donghua Empire through his internal agents and gave it to them. Internal response, border defense map. Chen Beiyuan's pupil shrank, and his face instantly turned cold and ugly. That incident almost caused the overall strength of the Donghuachan family to drop significantly. If the old man hadn't broken through the 8th-grade war emperor in time and took the initiative to invite all the major families to fight, defeating them one by one, showing a strong scene. The military power of the Chen family may have been divided among others long ago. The Chen family, which has lost its military power, is afraid that it will not be able to maintain its status as a top family and will fall directly to the bottom, and no one will dare to step on it. Ito Rikoshi, you really deserve to die. And those lurking spies and traitors. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan wanted to slap the little b*** d of the Ito family in front of him to death, but he knew very well that doing so would not only be useless, but would also make the Ito family vigilant. The living Makoto Ito is more valuable than the dead Makoto Ito. Now that we know the Ito family's plan, the next step is to use their plan to trap the Sakura people and the ferocious beasts and aliens on the border front and annihilate them all. One pot was served. Chen Beiyuan took out a picture stone from his arms, turned it on directly to Ito Makoto in front of him. Tell me everything you know about the spy and the Ito family's plan. Although Ito Makoto does not know all of the Ito family's plans and all the insider lists, even a part of it is enough. Sometimes, one person can pull out a bunch of people, and only half of them can be pulled out. From ancient times to the present, traitors are more hateful than enemies. One by one, everyone involved must die. After recording Ito Makoto's words, Chen Beiyuan called out the sleeping little silly dragon. Anu, erase the memory of him seeing me. To be sure, Ito Makoto's memory of seeing him must be erased. If you want to catch everyone in one fell swoop, you can't leave any hidden dangers. Sakura country, Ito family, ferocious beasts, aliens, traitors. These are the goals that he will deal with one by one next. Originally, his idea was to focus on the layout of southern Xinjiang and enhance his own strength. He had no plans to deal with the Sakura people for the time being. But now, the Sakura people are very ambitious. If they want to join forces with the ferocious beasts and aliens to overthrow the Donghua Empire, they still have to use the Northern Front as a breakthrough. This will undoubtedly put the Donghua Chen family on the fire. In this case, if you don't find a way to kill these idiots first, Chen Beiyuan, the young master of the Chen family, will be in vain. Moreover, every member of the Chen family will never forget the blood feud 100 years ago. As the culprit, Ito Rikoshi must die, and he must not die too happily. Makoto Ito is the next crucial link. Ito Ryu must be convinced that the Donghua people are not aware of his plan, so that he can continue to contact the ferocious aliens on the border front. Although Chen Beiyuan's demonic thoughts can roughly blur Ito Makoto's memory, he is not sure whether it will be noticed by Ito Ryu, an old fox. He didn't have much confidence in the 8th grade emperor of the Ito family. The old man can do it, but he is far away on the border front, and his every move easily attracts attention from all parties. Dad is practicing in seclusion in the 3rd theater, but after all, he is just a newly promoted quasi-emperor. The elder of the Chen family is not weak in soul attainments, but after all, he is only a quasi-emperor and is still far behind the 8th grade war emperor. In this case, the former 8th grade ferocious beast bloody dragon emperor is the best choice. Advertisement. The little silly dragon Anu has extremely high attainments in the soul. Before, he was almost distorted by a spiritual imprint left behind, and became her human pet to protect her. If his abyss, fighting spirit hadn't been powerful enough, he might have been ridden by the little silly dragon at this moment. Even after rebirth, the soul strength of the little silly dragon Anu is still that of the 8th grade dragon emperor. Coupled with the terrifying talent of the evil dragon clan to control the soul, it is easy to erase some of Ito Makoto's memories. Even Ito Rikoshi couldn't detect anything strange. The bloody dragon emperor at his peak could almost be said to be the top of the 8th grade ferocious beasts. There are only a handful of 8th grade war emperors in the human race countries who can compete with him. Yuan, hungry. The little silly dragon that was summoned was obviously very angry about getting out of bed. After seeing Chen Beiyuan, he bit him out of habit. Snapped. Chen Beiyuan expressionlessly gave a certain little silly dragon that was used to 3-way attacks a resounding blow to the head, and immediately beat it until it screamed wildly. Where do all these bad habits come from? He finally saw it clearly. Even though the little silly dragon always looked silly in front of him, he was still essentially a mixed-blood evil baby dragon with a bad personality. He was indeed a little too indulgent before, which caused her to develop many bad habits. Yuan bad. The little silly dragon Anu, who had a small bump on his head, had an angry expression on his face, and the thick and powerful scarlet dragon's tail was flicking around. If you don't obey me, your share of animal milk tonight will be halved. Also, you can sleep in the blood pool by yourself tonight, and you are not allowed to go to my bed. Chen Beiyuan's cold voice reached her ears, and Xiaoxi Dragon Chi's bulging expression instantly became dull, and her pair of weird dual pupils widened instantly. For a greedy baby dragon, not giving her animal milk would cost her her life. What's even worse is that she, a baby dragon, has no one to accompany her at night and no one to tell her bedtime stories. How can she sleep? Last time I just talked about the wonderful scene of the dragon snatches the beautiful man. Facing Chen Beiyuan's increasingly superb dragon training skills, even a proud and arrogant little silly dragon can only lower his noble head. All right. 10 minutes later. Advertisement. The confused Ito Makoto slowly opened his swollen eyes, looking at the empty execution chamber. A trace of confusion seemed to flash through his absent-minded eyes. All previous memories about Chen Beiyuan have been completely erased. It's true to be cautious. There are actually people in the Imperial Court of Justice who have been infiltrated by Ito Makoto. Although he is just an inconspicuous jailer, Sometimes such an inconspicuous little person is the most likely to do bad things. After leaving the execution chamber and returning to the trial court, Chen Beiyuan looked at the list of insiders on the shadow stone in his hand, with a dark light flashing in his eyes. In this list, there are some inconspicuous little people and some famous people. Among them are many unpopular descendants of aristocratic families. 100 years ago, the old immortal Edo Rukoshi started the layout. Over the years, there are naturally not a few people who have been bribed. The list in his hand is just the tip of the iceberg. The entire list is not accessible to just Makoto Edo. Just as he was thinking, Bayuza also walked over. Brother-in-law, Lin Shufeng, the head of the Lin family, spoke to my third uncle and wanted to bail Lin Xiao out. My third uncle asked me to ask your opinion. Don't worry, I will definitely be on your side. Lin Jiuxiao has even moved out, so let him go. There is no need to embarrass your third uncle. Say hello to his old man for me. Find a time, and I will pay him a visit in person. Chen Beiyuan paused and nodded slowly. The third uncle of the Bai family has been under a lot of pressure during this period. After all, there are many people interceding for Lin Xiao and Ito Makoto. In particular, Lin Jiuxiao used almost all her connections and even her own father moved out. In this case, there is no need to embarrass the Bai family. You can never take other people's kindness for granted. After all, the other party is the elder of his fiancée. Some necessary etiquette is still required. Being able to recruit people at all costs, it seems that Lin Jiuxiao definitely has true love for Lin Xiao. I just wonder what his expression will be like when he goes to recruit people. A playful smile appeared on Chen Beiyuan's lips. Although Chen Beiyuan was a little curious about Lin Jiuxiao's reaction when he saw Lin Xiao's miserable state, he had more important things to do than being curious. If he wants to wipe out all the Sakura people and the ferocious beasts and aliens on the border front, he will definitely not be able to do it alone. This kind of thing definitely requires the entire Qin family to work together. Qin family. The photographic stone that recorded Ito Makoto's confession was currently placed in front of Qin's father. As the image of the photo stone played back bit by bit, Father Qin's serious and unsmiling face gradually became ugly. No wonder the beast disaster broke out so suddenly, almost in the gap between the army's defensive changes. The two 8th-grade beasts also happened to appear at the weakest position. It turned out that there was an insider within the empire. There are only a few people who have access to the border defense map and know the time for the army to change defenses. They even dare to sell this top secret of the empire. It seems that all of them are tired of living. Although the list provided by Ito Makoto did not reveal the identity of the traitor who betrayed the border defense map, but Chen Zhiqing obviously already has a rough range. There are only so many people who have access to such important military secrets. Chen family, Lin family, Zhang family. Beiyuan, you did a good job. Who else knows about this besides you? No more. I didn't even reveal it to Xiaobai. I asked Anu to erase Ito Makoto's memory. Even the old immortal Ito Ryu couldn't find any clues. Chen Beiyuan said with a serious face. Father Chen nodded, with a look of emotion on his face. Apparently, he was a little surprised by his son's thoughtfulness, even he couldn't find any fault with it. Very good. The main body already knows about this matter. You can make several copies of this image stone and give one copy to the Great Elder. He will give it to the old man through special channels. If you dare to plot against our Qin family, no matter who he is or what force is behind him, you must pay with blood. Father Qin's eyes flashed coldly, and there seemed to be a terrifying demonic energy surging in his body, almost tearing apart the space. Although he was just a clone, the aura vaguely revealed on his body at this moment was even more terrifying than that of the 7th-grade ferocious beast in the Soul Beast Tower. Even Chen Beiyuan felt a little threatened at this moment. Obviously, after Chen's father broke through the Quasi-Emperor, his strength improved so fast that it was incredible. Advertisement. Now, I am afraid that I am not far away from the 8th-grade War Emperor. Sutra Pavilion. When the Great Elder saw the content engraved on the image stone, his old face covered with age spots instantly turned ferocious, and his cloudy eyes seemed to burst with a terrifying imperial power, tearing through the void. Ito Rukashi. As Chen Beiyuan brought the photo stone back, the terrifying beast of the Chen family that had been dormant for many years was instantly reawakened by the blood feud of the past. Blood debt must be paid with blood. The second floor of the black cell. Lin Jiuxiao held a dark golden warrant and walked in the damp and dark passage. The jailer in black next to him was leading the way with a flickering oil lamp. Under the dim light, strange prisoners dressed as prisoners could be vaguely seen in the cells on the left and right sides. There are humans who have had their limbs chopped off, their eyes gouged out, and their limbs cut off. There was an orc head hanging in the air, still cursing in orc language. There was a vampire duke who had most of his flesh and blood removed, exposing his white bones, who was nailed to a cross and soaked in a septic tank. There is even an earthly python that is about to undergo dragon transformation, but at this moment it is nailed 7 inches by steel nails, as thick as fists, and all the scales on its body have been pulled out, revealing its bloody flesh. Most of the people who can be imprisoned in black cells are not simple existences. They either have special identities or have secrets. The reason why the Donghua Empire did not execute them directly was because they were still valuable. Some of these people are evil cultivators who do evil things, like to kill people, and possess peerless magical skills. Some are kings of alien tribes, and some are powerful, ferocious beasts that can fix their scales and draw blood. Their value alive is far greater than dead. Although they are more inclined to live than die at this moment, they are still alive after all. At this moment, the pairs of green eyes were all focused on the dark gold warrant in Lin Jiuxiao's hand, their eyes full of madness and greed. It was the highest order signed by the president of the Imperial Court of Justice, which allowed any prisoner to be taken away directly from the cells on the first 5 floors of the black cell. Advertisement. Over the years, dark gold warrants have appeared only a handful of times. The last time it appeared was 20 years ago. A certain powerful alien group spent a huge price to get one and redeem their king. Boy, take me out and I can give you the remaining 8 grade skills. Human, I am the former wolf king of the wolf human race. I know the location of a secret realm with rich resources. As long as you take me away, I will tell you the location. Human, I, the bloody duke of the Dracula family. As long as you take me out, you will gain the friendship of the entire Dracula family. Human, take me away. As long as you can get me out of the situation of being skinned and bloodied, I can recognize you as my master and serve you for 100 years. Lin Jiuxiao's face was expressionless, and he ignored the temptations that kept coming around him, without being tempted at all. However, the hand holding the dark gold warrant in his hand was a little tighter. In order to get Lin Xiao out, he tried his best and used almost all his connections, but there was still no way. In the end, he asked his own father to come forward to negotiate with the Bai family, and then he got the secret gold warrant from the Bai family. Under such circumstances, how could he easily sell the dark gold warrant? How far is it? Lin Jiuxiao frowned and asked with a bit of irritation on his face. Master Lin, it's just ahead. The jailer suddenly stopped, pointed to the cell in front of him, and said. Lin Jiuxiao was stunned, and soon saw a few, emaciated Taoran lying motionless on the ground in the dirty and damp cell, as if they were dead. But what about Lin Xiao? Suddenly, Lin Jiuxiao's face froze, as if he had seen something. In the corner of the cell, a large area of smelly yellow-white liquid piled up, and a barely recognizable human figure was lying inside, motionless. Lin Xiao. Lin Jiuxiao froze on the spot, muttering to himself with dull eyes. Suddenly, the figure lying in the yellow-white liquid trembled slightly, as if hearing his call. He opened his eyes. Moving to the dormitory, from morning to now, almost exhausted, Lin Jiuxiao didn't know how he walked into the cell. His eyes were dull as he looked at Lin Xiao, who was swollen and bruised. At this moment, he is like the belated hero in some sadistic novels. When he arrived, Huang Mao in a room was too tired to move. As for his beloved, he was well taken care of by those yellow furs, and he was well fed every meal. He ate at least 9 meals a day, and he was all fattened up. Sorry. Lin Jiuxiao lowered her head and held Lin Xiao in her arms. She didn't mind the dirt and stench on his body at all, and her face was full of guilt and apology. If he had known that Lin Xiao would be treated so cruelly in the past 2 days, he would not have let him be taken away by the people of the Inquisition. I have to say that this pair of crouching dragon and phoenix chicks are definitely true love. Go home. Lin Zhao's face was white, his eyes were blank, and he looked like he was mentally broken, and he muttered to himself, "Okay, go home, let's go home." Lin Jiuxiao picked him up and was about to leave, but when he passed the tower, viciousness and cruelty flashed across his face, and he was ready to kill him. But his movements were sudden, as if he had discovered something. There's something wrong with the skin of these Tauren. Why is it glowing purple? Moreover, it seems that he is not breathing, already dead. But, for some reason, when they died, their ugly faces turned out to be filled with weird and joyful smiles. Poisoned by some kind of poison? Lin Jiuxiao's eyes paused, then focused below them, and his pupils shrank. His eyes suddenly looked at Lin Xiao in his arms. Could it be Lin Xiao did it? In the end, Lin Jiuxiao took Lin Xiao away. After he left, several Minotaur corpses were dragged out by the jailers. After forensic examination, it was found that a large amount of neurotoxin had corroded their nerves, killing them bit by bit. No one expected that Lin Xiao could actually have such a means to kill these mutated Tauren with his hands, feet, and cultivation level restrained. Soon, the corresponding investigation report was transferred by Beiyuan personally. As for these Tauren who were poisoned to death, advertisement, just die. In a cell, the death of 1 or 2 people, or the death of an inhuman alien beast, is a trivial matter. The Minotaurs after death were not wasted. They were sent directly to the processing factory, where they could be made into canned meat sauce and sold to the aliens on the front line. Anyway, those guys don't mind if the canned meat is of the same kind, as long as it's edible. I have to say that the Ito family is very efficient. In less than a day, the Ito family's messenger arrived and brought 2 7th-grade magic weapons and a 5% share transfer letter for Sakura Group. The 2 7th-grade weapons are an old wine gourd and a pale blue bead. They are Shutan Gourd and Heart of Blue. The former is an auxiliary 7th-grade magic weapon that can continuously produce special wine. It is quite attractive to most ferocious beasts and can temporarily make them lose their minds. The latter is a defensive 7th-grade weapon that can defend against attacks from the soul. In response, Chen Beiyuan just glanced at it casually and accepted it. Chen Jun, since the things have been delivered, can you hand the person over to me? The messenger of the Ito family bowed sincerely, without the strong demeanor of the 7th-grade war emperor, but more flattering and flattering. Bring people here. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were calm, and he glanced at Beiyuan next to him. I saw my brother-in-law clapped his hands, and someone dragged Ito Makoto, who was nailed to the cross, from the execution room of the Black Cell. When the envoy of the Ito family saw the tragic situation of Ito Makoto, his face seemed to be stiff for a moment, but he quickly reacted and buried his emotions deep in his heart. Go back and tell Ito Jiyue, that old dog, to discipline his eldest son well. To be a dog, you have to behave like a dog. When it's time to bow your head, you have to bow your head. What's the use of holding on? In the end, you have to kneel down. Please beg me? Chen Beiyuan looked at the Ito family envoy in front of him with an arrogant expression and patted his face with the back of his left hand, full of humiliation. I will take the message to the head of the family. Messenger Ito clenched his teeth and forced a flattering smile on his face. But deep down inside, I felt relieved. The other party's arrogant and domineering attitude means that they don't know those things. Otherwise, this attitude would not be true. Advertisement. After the other party took Ito Makoto away, the arrogance on Chen Beiyuan's face instantly turned into calm. He looked at the 2 7th-grade magic weapons in front of him, as well as the shared transfer letter of Sakura Group, then looked at his brother-in-law and said, "Pick one and take it back to your sister. You will get 2% of the 5% shares of Sakura Group." Chen Beiyuan is not a solitary eater. This time, he relied on the power of the Bai family, so he naturally needed to give something back. There are some things that others may not say, but you may not do. Eating alone can easily attract people's hatred. Brother-in-law is awesome. Bayuza couldn't help but give a thumbs up. He shared half of the profits as soon as he made a move. This pattern is worthy of his brother-in-law, and it is indeed extraordinary. He was not polite and directly chose wine-swallowing gourd, which was obviously more effective for his elder sister. Chen Beiyuan shook his head, put away, heart of blue, and said nothing more. Suddenly, a trace of astonishment flashed through his eyes, as if he had seen some disgusting scenes through some means. Really good at playing. Hotel. Lin Zhao's body was covered with scars after being cleaned. Lin Zhuoxiao was applying medicine to him, applying it evenly bit by bit. Seeing so many scars and bruises on the unconscious Lin Zhuoxiao's eyes flashed with murderous intent, as if he wanted to tear those yellow Taorin into pieces. For a moment, the scenes of Lin Zhao being pushed to the ground and tortured by those Taorin appeared in his mind. Gradually, besides the angry murderous intent, there was something else in his eyes, and his breathing became rapid. His hesitant and struggling eyes paused for a moment on Lin Zhao's sleeping face, as if he was thinking about something. It's okay. It's okay. Lin Zhao's eyes were still closed, and he fell into a deep sleep without any reaction. But what Lin Zhuoxiao didn't notice was that the fingers of Lin Zhao's right hand hanging on the ground were piercing deeply into the flesh. Perhaps sensing Lin Zhuoxiao's gaze, the clenched palms instantly relaxed. I have to say that Lin Zhao, the son of fortune, is indeed unique in his forbearance. Otherwise, it would not have been possible to poison to death several minotaurs who bullied him on the second floor of the black cell, with his hands and feet chained. Lin Zhuoxiao thought that what happened was done secretly, and Lin Zhao didn't know it, so he just thought it was a nightmare. It's a pity that he never dreamed that although Lin Zhao was weak, he would wake up long ago. Originally, Lin Zhao was a little touched by Lin Zhuoxiao coming to save him, but now this feeling has become distorted. He never expected that Lin Zhuoxiao would take advantage of others' danger and do such a thing to him. Now it seems that Lin Zhuoxiao is no different from those despicable Taorin. The only difference may be that they are not as big, as rough, and as powerful as those Taorin. Lin Zhuoxiao, who was busy, did not notice Lin Zhao's complicated mood at the moment, nor did he realize that just when he came into contact with Lin Zhao's open wound, some special toxins quietly entered his body. These toxins usually do not occur and are difficult to detect, but at critical moments, they are enough to kill him. With this move, he would have the trump card to blackmail and control Lin Zhuoxiao in the future. It has to be said that at this moment, Lin Zhao is gradually beginning to evolve in the direction of benefiting animals. Compared with the benefits, a little physical humiliation can still be tolerated for a short time. Just when Lin Zhao was holding back, he suddenly felt his body relax, and then a fishy smell hit his face, making him want to vomit. At this moment, two hands suddenly grabbed his head. These are all dreams and nightmares. They will pass. They will pass. I will protect you from now on. Lin Zhuoxiao looked at the ceiling and murmured to himself. I don't know if he is deceiving people or ghosts. At this moment, Lin Zhao's right hand that was hanging on the ground suddenly clenched tightly again, with veins popping up. It seemed that he couldn't hold it back, but he finally relaxed. Those who achieve great things do not stick to trivial matters. A little humiliation is bearable. However, Lin Zhao, whose mentality was gradually distorted, did not realize that a trace of evil thoughts on his shoulders was quietly seeing everything. Such a character is really terrifying. Chen Beiyuan praised. Advertisement. Lin Zhao, the son of fortune's forbearance, has obviously refreshed his mind again. I have seen many people giving gifts to girls, but it is relatively rare to give them to myself. As expected of a hero, those who achieve great things do not stick to trivial matters. If he hadn't read the original work and knew that Lin Zhao had no special physique, he would have suspected that Lin Zhao had some kind of special sacred body that attracted men. In the original work, Lin Xiaoke showed off his prowess many times, and Lin Jiuxiao, a righteous little friend, was the one who shouted Liliuliu around him. Now, with his intervention, it was Lin Jiuxiao who showed off his power, and Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, was called 666. No, Lin Xiao should be unable to speak now. He is quite busy now. Ding, congratulations to the host for changing the original fate line, forcing the son of fortune's sexual orientation to bend, showing some signs of evil in his character, and partially losing his own protagonist's luck. Ding, congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward. Heaven's Child Fortune Gazing Technique, Divine Luck Ability. Heaven's Child Fortune Gazing Technique. Luck Divine Ability. The ancient emperor could see the luck of all living beings in the world while talking and laughing, distinguish good and evil from his own heart, and let people do what he wanted, observe good and bad fortune, judge the uncertainty of life and death, control the order of yin and yang, and obey the destiny. And 4. Note: if you use this luck divine ability on someone with a high level of cultivation, it is very likely that luck will backfire. Heaven's Child Fortune Gazing Technique. Another luck divine ability. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were slightly stunned, obviously a little surprised. In addition, the 4 divine abilities of Dependence on Life and Death, Retribution of Retribution, Immobilization Spell, and Blood Dragon Transformation are included. He has now mastered 5 divine abilities. You must know that divine ability is an ability that only the 7th grade War King can master. Now he is just the 6th grade Battle King. I'm afraid most 7th grade War Kings don't have as much divine ability as him. This is really a bit outrageous. If word spreads, I am afraid that many 7th grade War Emperors will be unable to hold back. However, at this moment, Chen Beiyuan is more concerned about the Heaven's Child Fortune Gazing Technique he just obtained. Advertisement. It can wish all living beings luck, observe bad luck and good fortune, judge the uncertainty of life and death, control the order of life and death, and act in accordance with destiny. Chen Beiyuan murmured to himself. A vague figure suddenly appeared in his mind. It was the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, who once made a prediction for him and determined his future destiny. I have to say that the hexagram in charge of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion is very effective, and he must have practiced some special luck technique. Chen Beiyuan suddenly looked at his brother-in-law Beiyuan next to him, and directly used Heaven's Child Fortune Gazing Technique, as if another divine light surged deep in his eyes. I saw a touch of light purple nobility suddenly blooming on Beiyu's body, and above his head was a happy and galloping snow-white beast, accompanied by auspicious clouds, rolling around in joy. Even if he accidentally fell, he would get up with a silly smile. He continued to run around like a silly roe deer. The little snow-white beast occasionally looked at him with unabashed intimacy and howled at him from time to time. Surrounded by purple energy, it is an auspicious sign. Your mind is pure, and you are blessed with great blessings. Although there are occasional ups and downs, you will always turn bad luck into good luck. This is the destiny of great wealth and great wealth. If we can get rid of a little impetuousness, we may not be able to accomplish something in the future. However, if you take this path, the bumps in the road ahead will naturally increase, and your destiny and luck will also change. Chen Beiyuan's eyes flickered, and he secretly deduced. People's luck is not static. When you make corresponding choices, your own destiny will also change quietly. With Beiyu's current luck, he is definitely better than 99 people in the world. Backed by the Bai family, a top aristocratic family, her sister Bai Ruowei is the heroine of luck, a top aristocratic family, and the future empress. The brother-in-law is the young master of the Chen family, the future military leader, the head of the Chen family, the destined villain who is destined to become the 9th grade god of war. Based on this background, even some princes of the imperial royal family do not have as high a status and background as him. Even if he encounters any setbacks, there will be someone to deal with the consequences. Just like what happened when Lin Jiuxiao's third leg was broken last time. In the end, the danger was turned into good fortune and Xiao Bai's life was saved. But when Chen Beiyuan looked at Beiyu's mature and steady face, and then at the snow-white little beast above him that was bouncing around like a silly roe deer, he felt the corner of his mouth twitching. This heaven's child fortune gazing technique has some tricks. You can see its true nature and distinguish between good and evil at a glance. At this moment, Beiyuan hadn't realized that his silly character had been seen through by his brother-in-law. You just don't know what my luck is? Chen Beiyuan retracted his gaze and looked at the top of his head, but was suddenly stunned, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. It is different from the light purple luck manifested on top of Beiyuan's head and the white beast accompanied by auspicious clouds. The luck above his head was actually covered by a cloud of extremely dark air of chaos. The gas of chaos seemed to be alive, slowly squirming and rolling, tightly wrapping the things inside. Even Chen Beiyuan with heaven's child fortune gazing technique could not see through the obstruction of that layer of chaos chi and directly see what was hidden inside. Obviously, he, the destined villain, has some special luck and fate. However, compared to things covered by the air of chaos, what Chen Beiyuan is more concerned about is that outside the energy of chaos, there are actually 4 slightly narrow long black trees floating in the air. They are closing little by little. At a glance, they look like an illusory black coffin. For trees form a coffin, which is a sign of great misfortune. Is there going to be a calamity of death coming to me in the near future? When the coffins are merged, that's when the calamity of death will come. Someone wants to kill me? Chen Beiyuan's eyes paused, showing a thoughtful expression. As the young master of the Chen family, it is not surprising that someone wants to kill him. After all, the Chen family has many enemies and opponents, and there are also many people who want him dead. There are many people who can think of it, but only a handful of people and forces who dare to do it. Most of the rest are just in the stage of imagination. However, the death calamity is so intense, which means that this death calamity is no small matter. It must be something that could threaten his life. If it weren't for heaven's child fortune gazing technique, he probably wouldn't have discovered that someone was secretly trying to harm him. This is intentional, etc. Chen Beiyuan paused and looked at the illusory black coffin that was slowly merging and about to condense into reality, and suddenly felt a little awkward. This illusory black coffin is not the style of Donghua people. On the contrary, it gives him a strange feeling of being petty. Black coffin, death calamity, advertisement. Boom. Suddenly, a flash of lightning seemed to flash through his mind, and he understood something instantly. Grandfather, ferocious alien race, invasion again. Contact internal agents, create chaos, force return, attack at the same time. Assault on a special big shot. Previously, Ito Makoto's confession resurfaced in his mind again. A hint of surprise suddenly appeared in Chen Beiyuan's eyes. So that's it, Ito Rikoshi's target is me? What could be more eye-catching than the news of the sudden murder of Chen Beiyuan, the young master of the Chen family, which shocked the empire and plunged it into chaos? If the designated heir of a huge family whose overall strength ranks among the top 3 in the Donghua Empire, holds most of the empire's military power, and has an army of millions of cultivators stationed at the border, even the royal family is fearful. Suddenly, for no apparent reason, if you die, the consequences will definitely be no less than the sky falling. I'm afraid that the entire Donghua Empire may fall into civil strife. This move is really cruel. Chen Beiyuan knew very well the reason why Ito Ryu chose him, the young master of the Chen family, instead of his father Chen Zhiqing. It's because he is easier to deal with. His father Chen Zhiqing has an 8th-grade magic weapon to protect him, and he often stays in the 3rd war zone of the Donghua Empire. Once a military formation is formed, even the 8th-grade war emperor has trouble attacking him, and it is difficult to easily defeat him. It won. In comparison, the young master of the Chen family, whose strength is only the 6th-grade war king, is undoubtedly much easier to deal with. In the final analysis, you still have to pick the soft persimmons. Chen Beiyuan, who was treated as a soft persimmon, had cold eyes and a bit of anger in his heart, but more of relief and joy. Because, once he knew this, it meant that he had taken the initiative. It seems that the Ito family has just fallen in love with the Chen family. In other words, the old accounts from 100 years ago and the new accounts today are all settled together. When the imperial army comes to the Sakura kingdom, all the blood of the Ito family will be one and the same. Do not stay. Sakura country, Ito family. After Ito Makoto was redeemed, he was urgently returned to the Ito family through special channels. During this period, even the injuries on his body were not treated. As long as no one dies. Advertisement. Soon, with bruises all over his body and thick iron nails piercing his limbs, the unconscious Ito Makoto was sent to a man who was emaciated and exuded a rotting stench, with a large number of straps on his body, disgusting spots on his face, and eyes as ferocious as a jackal. In front of the old man. This old man turned out to be Ito Makoto's grandfather. Ito Rukoshi. Ito Ryu looked at the miserable Ito Makoto in front of him, without any warmth in his eyes, as if he was looking at a stranger. I saw him stretching out his skinny right hand and holding Ito Makoto's head. With a click sound, 5 fingers pierced directly into the flesh and blood, penetrated the skull, and penetrated into the brain. A huge will was forcibly injected, and he began to explore and search for something. The unconscious Ito-chung was suddenly awakened by the severe pain that penetrated his brain. He opened his eyes, his face turned pale, and he wanted to scream, but he couldn't even make a sound. On the side, father and son Ito Jiyue and Ito Hideo, as well as other senior Ito family members, were watching everything in front of them in silence at this moment, turning a blind eye to Ito Makoto's pleading eyes. Jiyue, you gave birth to a good son. Perhaps it was because he saw that the spiritual imprint he had left had not been touched, and his plan had not been exposed. Ito Ryu's old face with ugly spots finally showed a satisfied smile. Hi, thank you father for the compliment. Ito Jiyue quickly lowered his head, showing a humble side without any dignity of the head of the family. The face that was pressed against the tatami finally breathed a sigh of relief. He knew very well how big the matter this time was. It almost ruined my father's years of planning. If one person is bad, everyone will be angered and punished. Fortunately, the current situation is not that bad yet. Father, please give Chung to me, and I will punish him. Click. Before Ito Jiyue could finish speaking, a crisp, shell-opening sound suddenly appeared in his ears. A horrifying scene appeared in everyone's eyes instantly. I saw that Ito Ryu actually opened Ito Makoto's skull, revealing the beating human brain inside. He inserted his skinny fingers into the brain and stirred it, then took it to the corner of his mouth and licked it, as if to taste it, and then he started eating on his own. The shrill screams instantly echoed through the entire room. Everyone fell into deathly silence as they looked at the horrific scene in front of them. If you do something wrong, you will be punished. This is the ancestral precept left by the ancestors of the Ito family. Because of your mistake, the family's century-old plan almost suffered a devastating loss. Ito Ryu dug out the brain, bit by bit from the container in front of him, put it in his mouth, and tasted it carefully, as if he was tasting some kind of peerless delicacy. The old, shriveled, and disgusting face, covered with disgusting spots, gradually gained a bit of fuller color, as if it had become a little younger. However, with his weird smile and ferocious eyes like a jackal, he looked a bit like a demon in human skin. Normal humans would not treat the brains of their own blood descendants as delicious food. Ito Makoto's shrill howl gradually became fainter. His ferocious expression began to stiffen, his face turned pale, his eyes rolled into white, and his whole body twitched crazily, like a monkey whose brain had been dug out. He looked blankly in the direction of his father, Ito Jiyue, and murmured to himself, "Father, father, it hurts, it hurts." Ito Jiyue's body trembled. His stern face seemed to be moved for a moment. He opened his mouth, but in the end he did not speak. In a sense, this incident is not entirely Ito Makoto's fault. Previously, his eldest son Hideo Ito was in charge of the plans for Heijo Daichi. Even when he later negotiated with Chen Beiyuan to allow the Sakura Group's arms business to enter the Black Continent, it was also his eldest son Hideo Ito's suggestion. Without the intervention of these two things, Ito Makoto would not have had so many connections with Chen Beiyuan, and he would not have ended up like he did now. In a sense, Ito Makoto took the blame for the father and son. However, it is acceptable to sacrifice a son for the great cause of the Ito family. I'm afraid Ito Makoto never thought until his death that he did not die in the hands of the Donghua people, but in the hands of his most respected grandfather. His previous persistence in the imperial tribunal seemed so ridiculous at this moment. He withstood the torture of the imperial court of justice, but he could not withstand the malice of his family. Even if he is in the Donghua Empire, if he reveals something, he can at least save his life and get some good treatment. It's a pity that there is not so much in this world, only cold reality. The blood of the Ito family died because of the Donghua Chen family, and this debt must be paid back. Zhiyue, let the agents lurking in the Donghua Empire prepare. Let's use Chen Beiyuan's life to pay tribute to Cheng's spirit in heaven. Advertisement. It's been so long. Those guys can't bear it anymore, and the plan has to be moved forward. Ito Ryu looked at the empty skull in his hand. A ghost-like smile appeared on his old, shriveled face, and he spoke extremely hypocritical words. Hi, father. Ito Zhiyue lowered his head and responded in a deep voice. Ito Ryu looked greedily in the direction of the east, as if through the obstacles of space, he saw the majestic ancient empire. In order to conquer this ancient empire, the Ito family spent countless efforts and time, and now it is finally time to harvest. As long as that ancient empire with a population of more than 2 billion is conquered and enslaved, by then, the Ito family will become the greatest and most powerful family in the world. Even if the entire human alliance becomes angry, the Ito family, which occupies the Donghua Empire and controls the Sakura Kingdom, will have a way to deal with it. If those people dared to push too hard, he would dare to completely unite with those ferocious beasts and alien races, and even throw himself directly into their arms. At that point, what will be lost is the power of human race. At that time, those old guys from the Human Alliance were the sinners of the entire human race. Dead people have no value, living people do, and those people will make the right choice. Ito Ryu laughed more and more triumphantly, his eyes as ferocious as a jackal full of ferocity and greed. At this moment, he has made a foolproof plan, and now he is about to launch the final plan. Over the years, he didn't know how much he had paid for this plan. However, Ito Ryu, who was in a sweet dream at this moment, did not realize that his carefully planned invasion plan had been exposed. Even his most critical link was seen through by Chen Beiyuan. At this moment, he didn't realize that he had completely angered the huge beast in the east that had been silent for many years. Today's Donghua Empire has become a bottomless abyss, just waiting for the Sakura people to jump into it. Click. Ito Makoto's empty head was ruthlessly twisted off and thrown directly at Ito Zhiyue's feet. Make this idiot's skull into a wine vessel. When the Donghua Empire is conquered, I will use it to hold wine and drink. Advertisement. Donghua Academy. Damn it, what do those lunatics of the Ito family want to do? They actually hide it from the Jingu family and join forces with other families to quietly make things so big. If one person is not good, the entire Sakura Kingdom will be buried with him. Jingu Fengyuan's face was filled with shock and anger, and he was obviously shocked by the urgent teleportation from his family. There was such a big commotion in the Ito family, and the Jingu family, as the royal family of Sakura Kingdom, didn't know about it so late. This shows that they don't trust them. What made Jingu Fengyuan even more shocked and angry was that the top families in Sakura country made it clear this time that they did not want to bring the Jingu family with them. Fortunately, my father was a wise man and went to find the old immortal Ito Rokushi in person, so the Jingu family finally got involved. At the thought of being able to carve up the entire Donghua Empire, Shangong Fengyuan felt a burst of excitement from his soul. This undoubtedly gave him a unique pleasure of subduing his superiors, like a son beating his father. Of course, it would be better if this plan was led by the Jingu family. That old dog Ito Rokushi just wants the Jingu family to get involved. The Ito family, damn it. Unlike the greedy and restless Jingu Fengyuan, Jingu Yukino, the princess of the Jingu family who looked like a snow girl, frowned, and a trace of uneasiness and anxiety flashed through her misty blue eyes. She saw more danger than benefit. One of the disadvantages of Sakura Country's Operation Snake Swallowing Elephant is that they will lose everything and even risk the country's subjugation. As long as this operation is led by the Jingu family, she won't think much about it. But this time it was that lunatic Ito Rukushi. If the plan fails, the Jingu family will most likely be withdrawn by that lunatic Ito Rukoshi and become a victim of politics. If the plan succeeds, the Ito family's reputation will reach an unprecedented peak, and all families will follow the Ito family's lead. By then, will the Jingu family as a royal family still need to exist? Father, do you really not see the danger involved? If you don't participate in the Jingu family, you will be dead. An evil and handsome figure suddenly appeared in Jingu Yukino's mind and murmured to himself, "Perhaps I can leave a way out for the Jingu family." Some things seem mysterious, but once the layer of paper is pierced, they lose their mysterious cloak and reveal their ordinary side. When Chen Beiyuan returned to Chen's house, he was called over by Chen's father's clone, saying that he had something to tell him about the mole who leaked the border defense map. Beiyuan, according to the information you got last time, the family has used some channels. The ghost, who leaked the border defense map and defense change time to Ito Ryu, has been roughly found. Who is it? Chen Beiyuan looked at Father Chen's serious expression in front of him and knew that the identity of this mole was probably not simple. However, Father Chen's next answer surprised him. Lin Zhong, former commander of the 8th Theater of the Donghua Empire. Mr. Lin's biological brother? Chen Beiyuan's eyes narrowed. The inner ghost turned out to be a member of the Lin family. Moreover, he is also the biological brother of that old ghost from the Lin family. This means that when the border front fell, the Lin family was also one of the masterminds behind it. Was it the Lin family who secretly stabbed the Chen family? In this way, it is quite reasonable. After all, the Lin and Chen families have been at odds for a long time. But Chen Beiyuan was keenly aware that something was wrong. Father, I remember that Lin Zhong seems to be dead? Yes, he died just 97 years ago. It is said that because of the death of his wife, he was in a trance and died in depression. The expression on Chen's father's face became more and more serious, without any joy at finding out the mole. Would a strong man at the peak of the 7th Grade War Emperor really die in depression because of the death of his wife? I'm afraid even the dogs won't believe this. You must know that Lin Zhong is not only a 7th Grade War Emperor, but also a senior member of the Lin family and one of the big bosses of the imperial military. For someone who has reached this level, even if he has this idea, the Lin family will not easily agree and will definitely do their best to stop it. Advertisement. What's even more ridiculous is that the time of Lin Zhong's death happened to be the 3rd year after the Chen family drove away the ferocious aliens and regained the Northern Territory. This is too much of a coincidence. Did he really die in depression? Or did he die depressed by others? What's even more ridiculous is that the Lin family was very taboo about Lin Zhong's death and handled it in a very low-key manner. Lin Zhong's death was too coincidental and too weird, as if he had been deliberately silenced. If the Lin family is behind all this, then there is a high possibility that they will be silenced internally. But this kind of thing is always too obvious. The Lin family can delay it for a few more years before taking action. The traces left by then will not be so obvious. Everything seems to be too impatient. Old Ghost Lin has been fighting with the old man for so many years. As a father, he also knows his temperament. He is an old ghost who is good at forbearance and ambitious. His patience is also among the best among many 8th Grade War emperors. This matter is so different from his style. My father suspects that there is someone behind Lin Zhong. What happened back then was definitely not just the Ito family, but other forces were involved. Father Chen looked serious, stretched out his hand, wrote a word on the table, and quickly wiped it clean. Chen Beiyuan's pupils shrank. A trace of strangeness and understanding flashed across his face, and he soon returned to calm. Be careful. You know people's faces, but not their hearts. Don't be fooled by the appearance of someone who has a heart. I understand, Father. Blood pool. Chen Beiyuan, who was soaked in the blood pool, had dark eyes. He didn't pay any attention to the little silly dragon rolling around in front of him, causing a storm, but countless complicated thoughts flashed through his mind. That incident back then was probably not as simple as imagined. The person behind the scenes is more terrifying than he imagined, even more powerful than the Lin family. Even the Ito family might be just a pawn of theirs. Advertisement. This behemoth, even in the original work, is an invisible and terrifying existence. Things are becoming more and more complicated, and we must speed up our efforts to become stronger. Only strength is the foundation that guarantees everything. As long as my father breaks through the 8th grade, and I have the 8th grade fighting ability, plus the old man, I will hit the door in a minute. Regardless of whether it is true or not, we will fight later. If you want to improve your strength as soon as possible, you still have to rely on the opportunity of plundering the Sun of Fortune. Counting the days, the large secret realm hiding the Void Temple should be coming soon. Chen Beiyuan's eyes flashed, and he began to recall the major plots in the early stages of the original work. The origin of the Void Temple is mysterious, and it contains countless terrifying opportunities and treasures. Only cultivators below the 7th grade War Emperor holding the Void Order can enter it and gain opportunities. Not only does it contain items that can increase lifespanning show fruit, there are also marrow-cleansing fruit that can reshape a person and improve their qualifications, and the 1,000-year crimson fruit that can improve their cultivation. For me, this is undoubtedly the best and fastest opportunity to improve my cultivation. In the original work, Lin Shao obtained a large amount of resources in the Void Temple and rescued the 6th prince Zhang Yunhua, which led to the wonderful scenes later in which Zhang Yunhua sacrificed his life to save people many times. Just when Chen Beiyuan responded to some wonderful passages in the original work. Not long after waking up, the little silly dragon started making trouble again. Suddenly, he showed a cunning and wise expression, rubbed his little hands, and quietly dived into the water. An hour later, the little silly dragon hiding at the bottom of the blood pool with a big bag on his head looked satisfied. He smashed his mouth with a gluttonous expression. His whole belly was round and looked like he has gained a lot of weight. The thick scarlet dragon tail swayed casually, like a dog in a happy mood. Yuan, so eat. After bathing, Chen Beiyuan just walked out of the blood pool. The old housekeeper came over, holding an unopened envelope in his hand. Young master, someone sent a letter from Donghua Academy, saying that it would be delivered to you personally. I see. Chen Beiyuan raised his eyebrows, but without paying too much attention, he casually opened the envelope and took out the envelope inside. What he saw was a few delicate large characters and a faint special fragrance. Beware of the Ito family.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.